The deep silence of space was broken by the steady hum of the Earth Defense Force ship North Star as it patrolled the outer edges of human space. Captain James Walker stood at the bridge's main viewport, his weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as he watched the distant stars. 20 years of service had taught him to trust his gut, and right now, his gut was telling him something wasn't right. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual energy signature," called out Tom from his sensor station. The young officer's voice carried a mix of confusion and excitement that made Walker turn away from the viewport. "It's unlike anything in our database." Walker crossed the bridge in quick strides, his magnetic boots clicking against the metal floor. "Show me," he ordered, leaning over Tom's station. The holographic display showed a faint purple dot pulsing at irregular intervals, about 3 light minutes from their position. "Whatever it is, it's big," Tom added, his fingers dancing across the haptic interface. "At least destroyer class, maybe larger. But the energy pattern, sir, it doesn't make sense. It's like it's there and not there at the same time." Walker's eyes narrowed. The Earth Defense Force had cataloged every known ship signature in explored space. Even the mysterious Dominion ships, with their advanced technology, had recognizable patterns. This was something new. "Plot an intercept course," Walker commanded. "But keep us at a safe distance. Notify medical to prep for possible containment scenarios, and get engineering ready for anything." He keyed the ship-wide comm. "All hands. This is the captain. Battle stations. This is not a drill." The North Star's engines hummed louder as the ship changed course. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, but Walker could sense their tension. Everyone knew about the Dominion threat, the aggressive alien empire pushing steadily toward Earth space. Every unusual contact could be a prelude to invasion. As they drew closer, the ship's primary sensors began gathering more data. The mystery vessel was massive, easily twice the size of the North Star. Its hull was dark, seemingly absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The shape was like nothing Walker had ever seen. Organic curves blended with geometric patterns that seemed to shift when viewed too long. "Sir," called Lisa from the engineering station, "the power readings. They're impossible." Her voice trembled slightly. "According to these readings, the ship is generating more energy than it's consuming. That violates at least 3 laws of physics." Walker felt a chill run down his spine. "Life signs." "None detected," Tom reported. "But there's so much interference, we can't be certain. The hull material is unlike anything in our records. Our scans keep sliding off it." The North Star drew alongside the mysterious vessel, close enough now that it filled the main viewport. Walker studied its dark surface, noting what appeared to be weapon ports, though they were unlike any weapon systems he recognized. The ship showed no signs of damage, no indication of why it was drifting in space. "Sir," Tom's shout made Walker spin around. "The ship, it's powering up." Across the mystery ship's hull, lines of soft blue light began to pulse, like blood flowing through veins. The energy signature on their sensors jumped, then jumped again, climbing to levels that should have been impossible. "Shields up. Ready weapons," Walker ordered, but before the crew could respond, something even stranger happened. The mystery ship's energy signature stabilized, and a signal began broadcasting on all frequencies. "It's English," Lisa said incredulously, checking her readings. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission in perfect Earth standard." Walker hesitated only a moment. "Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled, and a calm, artificial voice filled the air. "To any Earth Defense Force vessel receiving this transmission, we are designation Temporal Defense Ship Paradox. We come with warning and purpose. The future of humanity depends on what you do next." The message repeated, and Walker felt the weight of history settling onto his shoulders. He'd heard stories of first contact, of discoveries that changed the course of human development. Somehow, he knew this was one of those moments. "Sir," Tom called out, his voice tight with excitement, I'm detecting a match in the ship's atomic structure. The base materials. They're from Earth. This ship, whatever it is, was built by humans. Walker stared at the impossible vessel through the viewport. A human ship that violated the laws of physics. A vessel that claimed to come with warnings about the future. It shouldn't exist, but it did. And it was here. Open a channel, Walker commanded. As the comm officer complied, he straightened his uniform and cleared his throat. This is Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Force vessel North Star. We receive your transmission. Paradox. What warning do you bring? The response was immediate, and what they heard made every person on the bridge freeze. The artificial voice spoke clearly. The Dominion fleet approaches Earth with weapons that will pierce any defense we currently possess. They will arrive in 30 days. This ship contains the technology required to save humanity, but time is critical. Captain Walker, you are authorized to board. You will find proof of our origin and purpose in the main computer core. But be warned, what you learn will challenge everything you believe about the nature of reality. Walker looked around at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. They all knew about the Dominion threat. Earth's best analysts had predicted an attack was coming, but no one had expected it so soon. Assemble a boarding team, Walker ordered. Full containment protocols. I want engineering and science personnel with combat training. He turned to his XO. Keep the ship at battle readiness. If anything goes wrong, you get out of here and warn Earth. As the boarding team prepared, Walker stared at the mysterious vessel, this paradox that claimed to be from humanity's future. In 20 years of space service, he'd seen many strange things, but nothing like this. A ship that broke the laws of physics, broadcasting warnings of doom in perfect English. It was either humanity's salvation or the most elaborate trap ever conceived. The boarding team reported ready, and Walker headed for the shuttle bay. With each step, questions tumbled through his mind. If the ship was really from the future, why appear now? Why here? And most importantly, what kind of desperate situation would drive humans to build something that defied the very laws of physics? As his team's shuttle approached the Paradox Atoll, Walker thought he saw something in the strange patterns, a familiarity he couldn't quite place. The ship shouldn't exist. Everything he knew about science said it was impossible, yet here it was. And soon, he would learn either humanity's greatest hope or its final doom. The shuttle's docking clamps engaged with a solid thunk against the Paradox's hull. Walker checked his suit's seals one final time and nodded to his team. Remember, he said, whatever we find in there changes everything. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay together. Let's go make history. The airlock cycled, and humanity's first step into an impossible future began. The inside of the Paradox was unlike anything Walker and his team had ever seen. Their helmet lights revealed corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked, surfaces that rippled like water yet felt solid under their boots. The air was breathable, according to their suit's sensors, but no one dared remove their helmets. Engineering team, report. Walker spoke into his comm as they moved deeper into the ship. Dr. Emily Reed, Earth's youngest quantum engineer, responded with barely contained excitement in her voice. Captain, these readings are amazing. The walls aren't just metal. They're in some kind of quantum flux state. It's like they exist in multiple places at once. She waved her scanner over a nearby panel. And the power readings, they're off the charts, but I can't find any fuel source. The team made their way to what appeared to be the bridge. The room was circular, with empty control stations arranged in a pattern that somehow felt familiar despite its alien design. In the center stood a holographic projection system, currently dark. See if you can power it up, Walker ordered. The engineering team spread out, examining the strange controls. Dr. Reed approached what looked like the main console, her hands hovering over its surface. It's warm, she said, surprised. And I think it's recognizing my presence. The console's surface began to glow with a soft blue light, spreading out from where her hands hovered. Suddenly, the holographic system in the center of the room burst to life. A figure appeared. A human figure. It was an older man wearing what looked like a modified Earth Defense Force uniform. His image flickered slightly as he spoke. If you are seeing this, then the Paradox has successfully made contact with an Earth Defense Force vessel. I am, or was, Admiral Thomas Cooper, Earth Defense Force, year 2157. The hologram paused, as if gathering thoughts. What I'm about to tell you will sound impossible, but every word is true. Walker felt his heart rate increase. 2157 was 30 years in the future. The hologram continued. The Dominion attacked Earth in 2025. With their quantum phase technology, they'd bypassed all our defenses. We lost billions in the first wave. Those who survived, we learned, we adapted, we stole their tech, improved it, and did what humans do best. We made the impossible possible. Dr. Reed had stopped working, her full attention on a hologram. Her scanner beeped frantically, trying to make sense of the technology around them. This ship, the hologram explained, represents humanity's greatest achievement and our most desperate gamble. We broke the laws of physics because we had to. The hull exists in quantum superposition, making it virtually indestructible. The power core draws energy from parallel universes. The weapons, they don't just destroy targets, they erase them from existence. Walker's team exchanged glances. This sounded like science fiction, yet they were standing inside the proof. But our victories came too late. The hologram continued. Earth was already lost. So we made a choice. We built this ship not just to break the laws of physics, but to break the laws of time itself. We're sending it back, giving our past selves, giving you, a fighting chance. Dr. Reed's voice shook as she spoke. Captain, he's telling the truth. These designs, they're human designs, just pushed far beyond anything we thought possible. Look at this. She projected her scanner's display for everyone to see. The basic architecture is like our ships, just evolved. Like someone took Earth's technology and spent decades pushing it to its absolute limits. The hologram flickered again. We've included all our research, all our advancements. But time is critical. The Dominion fleet approaching Earth now has quantum phase technology. Your current defenses will be useless. You have 30 days to understand enough of our tech to have a fighting chance. Walker stepped forward. How? How can we possibly learn all this in 30 days? As if answering his question, the hologram smiled. Because you already have. In our timeline, this ship arrived, and a team of Earth's brightest minds worked day and night to understand it. You failed to stop the first attack, but you learned enough to help some of us survive. This time you have more warning, better resources, and most importantly, you have Dr. Emily Reed. Dr. Reed startled at hearing her name. The hologram turned to face her directly. Dr. Reed, in our timeline, you were the one who finally understood how to merge quantum mechanics with conventional engineering. Your theories laid the groundwork for everything this ship represents. Your future self helped design it. Who better to understand it than you? The engineering team turned to look at Dr. Reed, who stood frozen, her mind visibly racing with possibilities. Finally, she spoke. The quantum flux state of the hull. It's not just for defense, is it? It's a computing system. The entire ship is one massive quantum computer. The hologram nodded. The first step of many. You'll find detailed technical data in the ship's computer core. But remember, understanding this technology is only part of the challenge. Building it with current materials, adapting it to work with existing systems, that's where human ingenuity comes in. Walker keyed his comm. North Star, this is Walker. Send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them. He paused, considering his words carefully. Tell them we found something that changes everything. And get me a direct line to the Defense Science Council. We're going to need every bright mind we can get. The hologram of Admiral Cooper began to fade. One last thing. There's a reason we chose this exact moment, this exact patrol route for contact. The paradox had to find the right people at the right time. Don't waste this chance. Humanity's future depends on what you do next. As the hologram disappeared, Dr. Reed was already diving into the ship's systems, her fingers flying over the controls with increasing confidence. "Captain," she said, not looking up, "I'm going to need teams of engineers, quantum physicists, and material scientists. And coffee. Lots of coffee." Walker nodded, a grim smile forming on his face. "You'll have everything you need. Humanity just got a cheat sheet from our future selves. Let's make it count." Around them, the impossible ship hummed with power, its quantum systems already beginning to interface with Dr. Reed's equipment. The walls shifted their patterns, almost as if the ship itself was eager to share its secrets. They had 30 days to understand technology that shouldn't exist, build weapons that broke the laws of physics, and prepare Earth for an invasion by an enemy that had already beaten them in another timeline. Looking at the determination on his team's faces, Walker felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, faced with the impossible, yet ready to work miracles. The ship might be from the future, but humanity's greatest strengths were timeless: adaptability, determination, and the ability to look at the impossible and say, "Let's make it happen." Dr. Reed looked up from her work, her eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, you're not going to believe what I'm seeing. The quantum core. It's not just breaking the laws of physics. It's rewriting them." 20 days had passed since the discovery of the paradox, and Earth's finest minds were working around the clock inside a hidden facility near the lunar base. Dr. Reed hadn't slept properly in days, her eyes red-rimmed as she stared at the holographic display showing their latest failed test. "No, no, no," she muttered, running her hands through her messy hair. "We're still thinking too conventionally. The power core isn't just generating energy. It's pulling it from somewhere else." She turned to her team, who looked just as exhausted as she felt. "We need to stop trying to build a better engine and start thinking about holes in reality." Captain Walker watched from the observation deck as another test chamber exploded, the reinforced walls containing the blast. That was the 12th failure today. 10 days remained until the predicted Dominion attack, and while they'd made progress, they were still far from replicating the paradox's technology. "Dr. Reed," he called over the comm, "maybe it's time for a break. Fresh eyes might." "No time," she cut him off, already setting up for another test. "The answer's right here, we're just not seeing it." She pulled up the original scans from the paradox. "Look at these patterns in the power flow. They're not random. They're like waves in a pond, but the ripples go inward instead of outward." One of her assistants, Mike, stepped closer to the display, like it's pulling energy toward it instead of pushing it out. "But that's..." He trailed off, not wanting to say impossible anymore. They'd seen too many impossible things lately. "Exactly." Dr. Reed's eyes lit up with sudden understanding. "We've been trying to generate power, but what if we create a vacuum instead? Not in space, but in reality itself. Nature abhors a vacuum. If we make a hole in the energy field of our universe, energy from other universes would rush in to fill it." Mike finished, catching her excitement. "Like opening a drain at the bottom of a pool." Walker didn't completely understand the science, but he recognized the look on Dr. Reed's face. It was the same look she'd had when she first stepped onto the paradox, the look of someone seeing past the impossible to the merely difficult. The next test was different. Instead of trying to generate power, they built a device that created what Dr. Reed called a quantum vacuum. The initial results were promising, small amounts of energy appearing from nowhere, defying the law of conservation of energy. But then something went wrong. The energy levels started climbing exponentially, far beyond their calculations. Alarms blared throughout the facility. "Shut it down," Walker ordered, but Dr. Reed held up her hand. "Wait, look at the containment field. The energy wasn't destroying their test chamber. Instead, it was forming patterns, the same patterns they'd seen in the Paradox Atoll. It's stabilizing itself. The quantum vacuum is creating its own containment system. The test chamber filled with swirling patterns of light, exactly like the ones they'd seen on the Paradox. For the first time, they weren't just copying the future technology. They were understanding it. Hours turned into days as they refined the process. Dr. Reed's team worked in shifts, but she rarely left the lab. They learned that the quantum vacuum could be shaped, directed, even used to power conventional systems. But more importantly, they discovered why the Paradox's hull seemed to shift and change. It's not one hull, Dr. Reed explained to Walker as they watched the first prototype of their new power core take shape. It's millions of possible hulls existing simultaneously. When something hits it, it automatically shifts to the configuration that's best suited to resist that specific attack. The breakthrough with the power core led to other discoveries. They began to understand how the Paradox's weapons worked, not by destroying targets, but by shifting them into parallel universes where they had never existed. The technology was terrifying in its implications, but they had no choice. The Dominion was coming. 7 days before the predicted attack, they had their first major success. A small drone, powered by a quantum vacuum core and protected by a shifting probability hull, performed perfectly in all tests. It wasn't nearly as advanced as the Paradox, but it proved the technology could work with their current manufacturing capabilities. "We can do this," Dr. Reed said, watching the drone navigate an obstacle course by partially existing in multiple positions at once. "We can't build anything as advanced as the Paradox, but we can upgrade our existing ships, give them enough of an edge to survive." Walker nodded, already planning the logistics of modifying Earth's defense fleet. "How many ships can we upgrade in a week?" "With the resources of every major shipyard, maybe 30% of the fleet. We'll have to prioritize the most crucial systems, power cores, and defensive capabilities. The weapons will take too long to implement properly." It wasn't ideal, but it was more than they'd had 20 days ago. The modified ships wouldn't be able to erase enemies from existence, but they'd be able to survive hits from Dominion weapons that would have vaporized them before. The next week was a blur of activity. Ships arrived at lunar orbit in a steady stream, each receiving quantum vacuum power cores and probability-shifting hull modifications. Dr. Reed's breakthrough had been adapted into a form that current technology could support, even if it wasn't as elegant as the Paradox's systems. Through it all, the mysterious ship from the future sat in its secure dock, still revealing new secrets every day. Dr. Reed's team had barely scratched the surface of its capabilities, but they'd learned enough. They'd learned how to do what humanity did best: take an impossible idea and make it work with whatever they had available. 3 days before the predicted attack, Walker stood on the observation deck, watching Earth's modified fleet perform maneuvers. The ships looked the same on the outside, but now they flickered occasionally, their hulls shifting through probable states as they tested their new defenses. Dr. Reed joined him, finally allowing herself a moment of rest. "It's not perfect," she said, looking at the fleet. "The power cores are crude compared to the Paradox. The probability shifts are limited. The hulls can only shift through a few hundred states instead of millions. But it's enough to give us a fighting chance," Walker finished. He turned to look at her. "You did the impossible, Doctor. You took technology that shouldn't exist and made it real." She shook her head. "We all did. Every engineer, every physicist, every technician who worked until they couldn't see straight. We still don't fully understand how the Paradox works, but we understood enough to adapt it, to make it work for us." She smiled tiredly. "Isn't that the most human thing of all? Taking something impossible and finding a way to make it work anyway." The fleet continued its maneuvers, ships flickering in and out of probability states as they prepared for the coming battle. They weren't ready. Not really. But they were ready enough. They had taken a gift from the future and turned it into something they could use today. In 3 days, the Dominion would arrive expecting to find an easy target. Instead, they would find a humanity that had done the impossible. They would find ships that shouldn't exist, but did. The first signs of the Dominion fleet appeared exactly where the paradox had predicted. Long-range sensors detected the quantum distortions of hundreds of ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Earth's modified defense fleet waited in formation, their hulls flickering slightly as probability shifts rippled across their surfaces. Captain Walker stood on the bridge of the North Star, now equipped with one of Dr. Reed's quantum vacuum cores. The ship felt different. There was a subtle vibration that hadn't existed before, like a constant hum just below the edge of hearing. Every crew member could feel it, a reminder that their ship now partially existed in multiple realities at once. "All ships report ready, Captain," Tom announced from his station. The sensor displays showed their fleet of 30 modified ships, spread out in a defensive formation ahead of Earth. Behind them, the rest of Earth's conventional forces waited in reserve, hoping they wouldn't be needed. Dr. Reed's voice came over the comm from her position in the engineering section. "Power core is stable. Probability hull is cycling normally. We're as ready as we'll ever be." The Dominion fleet emerged from FTL in a burst of light that lit up space like a new sun. Their ships were beautiful in a terrifying way, sleek, dark vessels that seemed to absorb the light around them. The lead ship alone was larger than anything humanity had ever built. "They're broadcasting," Tom reported, his voice tense. "All frequencies, all languages." "Put it through," Walker ordered, straightening in his chair. A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. "Attention, human vessels. Your existence has been deemed incompatible with Dominion expansion. You will power down your ships and accept your extinction with dignity. Resistance will only increase your suffering." Walker looked around his bridge at the determined faces of his crew. They had all seen the messages from the future, knew what would happen if they failed here. He keyed the fleet-wide comm. "This is Captain Walker to all Earth forces. You know what's at stake. You know what happened in another timeline. But that's not going to happen here. Not today. Not to us." He paused, watching as the Dominion fleet moved into attack formation. "Remember your training. Trust your ships. Trust each other. Humanity stands together." The Dominion ships opened fire first, launching waves of quantum-phased energy that should have torn through any normal defenses. Instead, the modified Earth ships flickered, their probability hulls shifting to states where the attacks passed harmlessly through them. "Return fire," Walker ordered. The North Star's conventional weapons might not have been upgraded with future tech, but they could still punch hard when they hit. The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and missile trails. A massive blast from the Dominion flagship caught a modified Earth cruiser directly. For a moment, the ship seemed to exist in dozens of places at once, its probability hull cycling through possibilities faster than the eye could follow. When it stabilized, the ship was damaged but intact, a hit that should have vaporized it had only scored its hull. "They're adapting." Dr. Reed's voice carried tension but also excitement. "Their weapons are trying to lock onto our probability states, shifting to random probability patterns now." The battle evolved into something unlike anything in human military history. Earth ships flickered in and out of different realities, making it impossible for Dominion targeting systems to get a lock. Each hit forced the probability hulls to cycle faster, burning through power but keeping the ships alive. The Dominion fleet's perfect formation began to break apart as their usual tactics failed. Their weapons, designed to phase through normal matter, couldn't cope with targets that existed in multiple states at once. But they were far from defeated. "Energy spike from the flagship," Tom shouted. "It's massive." The Dominion flagship's entire hull began to glow with gathered energy. Walker had a fraction of a second to make a decision. "All power to the quantum core," he ordered. "Dr. Reed, give us everything you've got." The North Star's engineered hummed louder as Dr. Reed pushed their jury-rigged future tech to its limits. The quantum vacuum core pulled in energy from 1,000 parallel universes as the probability hull cycled through millions of possibilities per second. The Dominion flagship fired, its beam of concentrated energy cutting across space like a sword of light. It struck the North Star dead center. And for a moment, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Walker felt like he was everywhere and nowhere at once. He saw versions of himself giving different orders, saw the beam hitting in slightly different places, saw timelines where the ship was destroyed and others where it was untouched. Then, with a sound like thunder that couldn't possibly have carried in space, everything snapped back to one reality. The North Star was intact. Damaged, systems strained, probability hull flickering weakly, but alive. And more importantly, the Dominion flagship had drained most of its energy for that single shot. All ships, Walker called out, concentrate fire on the flagship. Everything you've got. The Earth fleet responded as one. Conventional weapons fire poured into the Dominion flagship from multiple angles. Its advanced shields could handle any single attack, but the sheer volume of fire overwhelmed them. Explosions blossomed across its hull as human determination proved stronger than alien technology. The Dominion flagship's destruction changed everything. The remaining alien ships began to retreat, their perfect formation dissolving into chaos. They had never expected their supposedly inferior opponents to survive, let alone fight back effectively. As the Dominion fleet fled back into FTL, chased by the cheers of Earth's defenders, Walker slumped in his chair. They had done it. They had changed the future. Dr. Reed's tired voice came over the comm. "Captain, you need to see this." She sounded puzzled. "The quantum core. It's stabilized into a new configuration. It's more efficient now, more stable. It's like the battle taught it how to work better." Walker thought about the moment when the flagship's beam had hit them, how he had seen multiple realities at once. "The technology isn't just from the future," he said slowly. "It learns. It adapts, just like we do." He looked out at the starfield where the Dominion fleet had vanished. They would be back, he knew, but Earth would be ready. They had taken technology that shouldn't exist and made it their own. They had faced the impossible and found a way to make it work. The North Star turned toward Earth, its probability hull still flickering softly. In the engine room, Dr. Reed was already thinking about improvements to the quantum core. In space behind them, repair ships moved to assist damaged vessels, while the conventional fleet celebrated their survival. Humanity had done what it did best, taken an impossible situation and refused to accept it. They had proven that determination and ingenuity could overcome any obstacle, even the laws of physics themselves. The future was no longer set. They had changed it with a ship that shouldn't exist, but did. 3 months after humanity's first victory over the Dominion fleet, the paradox still held mysteries that Dr. Reed and her team worked to understand. But now they worked with confidence instead of desperate haste, knowing they had changed the timeline they'd been warned about. Walker walked through the lunar base's main research facility, where ships were being upgraded with improved versions of the quantum technology. The original 30 modified ships had become hundreds, each one better than the last as they learned more about how the impossible technology worked. "Captain," Dr. Reed called out as he entered her lab. She looked different now, rested, confident, excited rather than desperate. "You're just in time. We finally decoded another section of the Paradox database, and you're not going to believe what we found." She led him to a secure viewing room, where a holographic display showed what looked like tactical data. "These are the Dominion's main staging areas," she explained, pointing to various points of light. "The Paradox didn't just bring us technology. It brought us their entire strategic database from 30 years of war." Walker studied the display with growing appreciation. Their supply lines, their production facilities, their command structure, everything, Dr. Reed confirmed. But that's not the best part. She touched a control, and the display changed to show detailed technical schematics. These are the Dominion's own quantum phase designs, the ones they were going to use against us, the ones they're probably developing right now. Walker understood immediately. We can counter them before they're even built. Better than that. Dr. Reed's eyes sparkled with excitement. We can improve them. The Dominion thinks in straight lines. If something works, they keep doing it the same way. But humans, we look at technology and see possibilities. Their quantum phase tech was powerful, but rigid. Ours adapts, learns, grows. She brought up another display showing the modified Earth fleet in formation. The ships no longer flickered visibly. They had learned to control their probability shifts with precision. Every battle, every test, every challenge makes the technology better. The quantum cores learn from experience, just like we do. The Dominion couldn't understand that. It's why they lost in both timelines. Walker remembered something the hologram of Admiral Cooper had said about humanity's greatest strengths. We don't just use technology, he said slowly. We improve it. Make it our own. Exactly. Dr. Reed pulled up more displays showing the progress they'd made. Look at these efficiency readings. Our quantum cores are already more advanced than the ones in the paradox, just in different ways. We traded raw power for adaptability, precision for flexibility. We made them work with what we have instead of trying to copy exactly what we saw. The displays showed more than just military applications. The quantum technology was being adapted for civilian use. Medical scanners that could detect problems across multiple probability states, power systems that could support entire cities with clean energy pulled from parallel universes, communication systems that could transmit data instantly across any distance. We're not just surviving now, Dr. Reed said softly. We're growing, advancing. The Dominion wanted to wipe us out because they thought we were primitive. Instead, we've taken their best technology and made it better. An alert sounded, and both of them turned to the tactical display. Long-range sensors had detected another Dominion fleet, larger than the first, approaching from a different vector. They're testing our defenses, Walker noted, looking for weaknesses. Dr. Reed nodded. They'll find something very different from what they expect. She brought up the status of Earth's defense fleet. Hundreds of ships now carried quantum technology, each one different, each one adapting and improving in its own way. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our creativity, our ability to look at something impossible and find a way to make it work. The Earth Defense Fleet moved into position, their formation loose and fluid, ready to adapt to whatever the Dominion threw at them. Walker headed for the shuttle that would take him back to the North Star, but paused at the door. Dr. Reed, he said, do you think we'll ever fully understand how the paradox works? She smiled. Maybe not. But that's not really the point, is it? We didn't need to understand everything. We just needed to understand enough to make it work our way. That's what makes us human. Hours later, as the second Dominion fleet approached, Walker stood on his bridge and felt the familiar hum of the quantum core. It wasn't the desperate vibration from their first battle. Now it was a steady pulse, like a heartbeat. The ship wasn't just using the technology anymore. It had integrated it, made it part of itself. All ships, battle formations, he ordered. Around the North Star, Earth's fleet moved with practiced precision. Some ships flickered with probability shifts while others remained solid, each using the quantum technology in their own unique way. They weren't copying the future anymore. They were building their own. The Dominion fleet emerged from FTL, their ships still impressive, but no longer terrifying. This time, Earth didn't wait for them to make demands. This is Captain Walker of the Earth Defense Force. He broadcast on all frequencies. You came here expecting to find an easy target. Instead, you found humanity. We've taken technology that shouldn't exist and made it our own. We've looked into the face of impossible odds and found a way to overcome them. You can retreat now, or you can learn firsthand why that was a mistake. The Dominion ships opened fire, their weapons still powerful, but no longer unstoppable. Earth's fleet responded with a display of technological creativity that would have been impossible 3 months ago. Each ship used its quantum systems differently, creating a defense that couldn't be predicted or countered. As the battle began, Walker thought about the paradox, still sitting in its dock, still holding secrets they hadn't discovered yet. But they didn't need all its secrets anymore. They had taken what it offered and built something new, something uniquely human. The future was no longer written. They had changed it not just with technology that shouldn't exist, but with humanity's greatest strengths: adaptability, creativity, and the determination to face the impossible and make it possible. As his fleet engaged the Dominion ships, Walker smiled. They had done more than save themselves from extinction. They had proven why humanity deserved to survive, to grow, to reach for the stars. They had taken a warning from the future and turned it into hope. The North Star's quantum core hummed with power as it led Earth's fleet into battle. They were writing their own future now, with ships that shouldn't exist, but did.